0.4%. I want that number to hang in the air for a second. Not 4%, less than half of 1%. That's the average success rate for a job application in, early 2026?
It is a brutal statistic. I mean, it is genuinely harder to get a human set of eyes on your resume today than it is to get into Harvard.
That feels, it feels like the system has just seized up. Like the engine has completely stopped turning.
It hasn't just seized, it was locked in a war.
Yeah.
We're living through what I call the AI attrition war.
Okay.
On one side, you have candidates using AI to spam thousands of applications with, perfectly optimized keywords.
Right.
And on the other, companies are using AI to filter those thousands of applications out. It's just a machine shouting at a machine.
And the actual person, the actual talent is just collateral damage in the middle.
Precisely. It's a black hole.
Welcome to the deep dive. Today we are unpacking a strategy to escape that very black hole. We're looking at a fascinating guide from AI Fire. We're talking about the interactive AI portfolio.
This is really about shifting the power dynamic. It's about moving away from that, please hire me mindset and using the very tools that broke the system AI to bypass the gatekeepers.
And I really want to get into the how-to, because the source material claims you can build this in a single weekend, even if you don't code. But before the solution, we have to understand the trap. So the roadmap for today. First, why attention is the real bottleneck, not your skills. Then we'll break down this AI portfolio, specifically something called the truth layer. And finally, we're going to talk about vibe coding.
Which sounds like slang from a cyberpunk novel, but it's actually a very practical way to build software.
It really does. So let's start with the black hole. The source paints a pretty bleak picture of the job market in 2026. LinkedIn feels less like a network and more like a noise machine.
It's a tragedy of the commons, right? The source mentions that for any given role, you're not just competing against other people, you're competing against these perfect digital ghosts.
How many are we talking?
You're up against roughly 400 other applicants per role.
And because of tools like GPT-6 or whatever's current, all 400 of those applications look perfect.
Right. Perfect grammar, perfect keyword matching, perfect formatting. When everyone is perfect, no one is exceptional. The signal-to-noise ratio is, it's basically zero.
So bring us into the employer's mindset here. I think it's easy for us to demonize the companies like, oh, they're just using bots to ignore me. But the source suggests it's not malicious. It's logistical.
It's purely a volume problem. I mean, imagine you're a hiring manager. You open your laptop on Monday and you have 500 applications in your queue. You literally cannot read them. The math just doesn't work.
No.
The source notes that ATS systems, those tracking systems everyone hates, scan a resume in about 6 seconds.
Just 6 seconds. I take longer than that to decide what coffee to order.
Exactly. In 6 seconds, they're not reading. They're pattern matching.
Yeah.
They're just looking for a reason to delete you. And here is the stat from the research that really blew my mind. 88% of employers admit that these automated systems cause them to miss qualified talent.
Wait, almost 90% admit the system is failing them.
Yes, they know they're rejecting the right people, but they are drowning. They feel like they don't have a choice.
That is tragic. Both sides are losing. The company doesn't get the talent doesn't get the job.
Because attention didn't scale. The volume of applications exploded because applying became frictionless. One-click apply, AI-generated cover letters. But the human attention span of the hiring manager, that stayed exactly the same.
So if volume is the enemy here, what's the actual goal for the candidate? Because the instinct is to fight fire with fire, right? I'll just apply to more jobs.
And that's just digging the hole deeper. It's contributing to the noise. The goal is to stop being a document. A document is easy to filter, easy to ignore. You need to become a partner.
A partner.
You need to shift the dynamic from screen me to interact with me.
Okay, let's pivot to the solution then. The interactive AI portfolio. This sounds fancy, but let's strip away the buzzwords. What are we actually talking about?
So the old paradigm is a static PDF. You send it, it sits in a pile, it's passive.
Right.
The new paradigm is a decision support tool. You're building a personal website, but not just a brochure. It's an active system that helps the hiring manager make a decision about you.
And the core of this is what the source calls the AI chat interface.
Exactly. Imagine a hiring manager lands on your site. Instead of scrolling through walls of text or downloading a file, there's a button or a chat window that says, "Ask AI about me."
Okay, so it's a chat bot.
Well, it's more like an agent. There's a difference. A chatbot just chats. An agent has a goal. The manager clicks it and types, what kind of leadership experience does this person have? And the AI, which you've trained on your specific history, answers them instantly.
The source gives a great example of this, right? A prompt about leadership at Stripe.
Yes. Instead of a generic bullet point like manage team, the AI replies. At Stripe, I hired and mentored 6 engineers. I operated as a player coach,
Okay.
spending 75% of my time on technical work and 25% on leadership. I specialized in unblocking junior devs during sprint crunches.
That is startlingly specific.
It is. And more importantly, think about what just happened psychologically for the hiring manager.
What do you mean?
When a recruiter looks at a resume, they're in filtering mode. They're looking for reasons to say no.
Right. Oh, no degree, no. Gap in employment, no. They just want to reduce the pile.
Exactly. But when they interact with a chatbot, when they type a question and wait for an answer, they shift into investigation mode. They're actively trying to understand you.
Ah.
And here's the key human insight from the research. People trust conclusions that they arrive at themselves.
That is a really heavy point. If I read a claim on your resume, I might doubt it because you wrote it to sell yourself. But if I ask a question and discover the answer, I feel like I found it. It feels like my discovery.
Precisely. It triggers curiosity instead of judgment. And just pause for a second and think about the scale of this.
Yeah.
You can have a deep, interactive, personalized interview with 50 hiring managers simultaneously while you are asleep.
Wow. It's like cloning your best self.
It really is.
But I have to play the skeptic here. I've used chatbots. I've used LLMs. Doesn't this just generate generic AI fluff? I feel like it would just say, they are a synergistic thought leader who drives impact.
The synergistic thought leader. Yes, we've all seen that. That is the danger. If you just hook up a generic GPT to your resume, that is exactly what will happen.
So how do you stop that?
And that brings us to the second component. The chat interface is the flashy part, but the engine is what the source calls the truth layer.
The truth layer sounds like a sci-fi thriller, but I assume we're talking about data structure.
We are. It's structured storytelling. See, a resume bullet is shallow. Reduce costs by $1.2 million. Okay, great. But how?
Right. Did you fire everyone? Did you switch software vendors? Did you just stop buying the good coffee?
Exactly. Without context, the number is meaningless. The truth layer is what we call expandable context. For every major claim you make, you provide the system with the SARL framework.
SARL. Break that down for us.
Situation, approach, result, and lesson learned. You're not just giving the AI a bullet point. You're feeding it the whole story behind it.
Let's dig into that lesson learned part, because most people stop at result, right?
They do, and that's a huge mistake. The lesson learned is where you show seniority. It's where you say, the result was good, but if I did it again, I would have communicated the changes to the marketing team 2 weeks earlier.
So when the hiring manager asks, how did they reduce costs, the AI isn't just hallucinating an answer. It's pulling from that specific data you fed it.
Yes. It says they noticed redundant server usage. They negotiated a new contract. However, they noted that the migration caused a 2-hour downtime, which taught them the importance of staged rollouts.
That proves you aren't just copy-pasting. That proves you actually did the work and reflected on it.
Exactly. Depth is the only thing that cannot be faked.
Yeah.
Anyone can fake a headline. Very few people can fake the nuanced trade-offs of a complex project.
And if the AI can explain the trade-offs, they know you're the real deal.
You got it.
So we have the chat interface, which is the hook. We have the truth layer, which is the substance. Now, the source mentions a third component, which they call the power move.
Oh, this is my favorite part. This requires some guts.
The fit assessment tool. How does it work?
You have a field on your site where the hiring manager can paste their job description.
Okay.
And your AI analyzes it against your background and tells them if it's a match. But here's the kicker. It tells them honestly if it is not a good fit.
Wait, you are building a tool that actively rejects jobs for you.
Yes.
Why on earth would anyone do that? The whole point is to get the job.
Is it? Do you want a job you're unqualified for? Or a job that requires skills you hate using?
Well, no, but it feels so counterintuitive to automate a no.
It's strategic. Think about how you perceive confidence. If you meet a consultant and they say, I can do anything, I'm great at everything, do you trust them?
No, not at all. I think they're desperate.
Right. But if they say, I am excellent at strategy and operations, but I'm terrible at graphic design, so if you need a designer, please don't hire me, suddenly you trust them implicitly on the strategy part.
That makes perfect sense. The honesty about the no makes the yes believable.
It signals that your time has value, and you respect their time enough not to waste it. You're positioning yourself as a partner. You're saying, let's figure out if this works, not please pick me.
It's the anti-sell.
And the anti-sell is the strongest sell.
So let's say I'm sold on the concept. I want the chatbot, the truth layer, the fit assessment, but I'm not a coder.
Right.
The source says this is a no-code path, but usually no-code still involves a pretty steep learning curve.
That was true in, say, 2024. This is the beauty of 2026. 2 years ago, building something like this would cost you $5,000 in 3 weeks of development. Now, it's a weekend project.
The source highlights a specific tool, Lovable.dev, but I imagine there are others.
There are, but the principle is what matters. They use a term called vibe coding.
Vibe coding. I feel like I'm too old for that word. It sounds like something teenagers do on TikTok. What does it actually mean?
It's a bit of a silly name for a serious breakthrough. It just means describing what you want in plain English, the vibe or the intent, and having the AI handle the actual code.
So you're coding with descriptions, not with brackets and semicolons.
Exactly.
Okay, walk us through the process then. How do we actually build this thing?
It's a 5-step process. Step 1, define structure. Just sketch it out. You need a hero section, 3 key projects, and a skills section. Simple.
Got it.
Step 2, prompt the tool. Basically type into Lovable, create a portfolio website for me. Include an AI agent, an experience timeline, and a job fit assessment tool.
You literally just ask for the features.
You just ask for it. The AI generates the website, front end, back end, all of it, in minutes.
But then comes the hard part, right? The machine gives you the shell, but the shell is empty.
Correct. Step 3 is add context. This is that truth layer we talked about. This is where you spend 30 to 60 minutes writing those stories. The situation, approach, result, lesson. This is where you pour your brain into the machine.
So that's the real work, the thinking.
That's the work. But it's high leverage work. You do it once, the AI serves it forever. Then step 4, configure the fit assessment. You train it to be honest. You tell the AI, if the job requires heavy C++ coding, say I'm not a match.
You're giving it permission to say no.
Exactly. And step 5, deploy and test. Send it to a few friends, try to break it, ask it ridiculous questions.
You know, I have to admit something. When I hear prompting code, I still get a little intimidated. I worry about prompt drift or just saying the wrong thing and breaking it all.
That is completely normal.
Ugh.
I felt the same way the first time. But you have to ask yourself, is it actually hard or is it just new?
That's a good distinction.
It's just new. Just clear communication. If you can explain your job to a friend, you can explain it to the AI. It's maybe 3 hours of focused work.
And for that 3 hours, you get an asset that works for you 24/7.
An asset that compounds.
Okay, I want to play devil's advocate here. The source addresses some common objections, and I want to throw them at you.
Get me.
Objection 1. Nobody is going to find this. I build this site, and it just sits in a dark corner of the internet.
That's a fair point. But you have to understand, this isn't a traffic tool. It's a conversion tool.
Explain the difference.
You still have to do the work of distribution. You still put the link in your email signature on your LinkedIn. But think about the funnel. If you send 100 people to a PDF resume, maybe 1 calls you. If you send 100 people to an interactive AI agent that answers their specific questions, maybe 10 call you.
So you're not fixing the finding part, you're fixing the hiring part.
Exactly. You handle the attention, the tool handles the conversion.
Okay. Objection 2. It's too much work. Job hunting is exhausting. I don't want to build a website.
I hear that. Burnout is real.
Rah.
But compare it to the alternative. We started this with that number, 0.4%. You can spend dozens of hours tweaking resumes for that, or you could spend 3 hours building a new system. Which one is actually more work in the long run?
Yeah, banging your head against a wall is a lot of work, too.
Exactly.
Objection number 3. It's gimmicky. Won't hiring managers just think this is a parlor trick?
In some industries, maybe. If you're applying to be a traditional banker, sure, stick to the CV. But we're talking about tech, marketing, operations, product.
Right.
In those fields, building this is the resume. It proves you're fluent in modern tools. It proves you have initiative.
It's a show don't tell moment. You're demonstrating the skills they want to hire you for.
Precisely. If you claim to be innovative on a PDF, I doubt you. If you show me an innovative tool you build, I believe you.
Okay, last one. Objection 4. What if everyone does this? If everyone has an AI portfolio, aren't we just back to square one?
That's the saturation fear. But here's the reality of human nature. most people are kind of lazy.
That is true.
Most people will not put in the effort to add the truth layer. They might generate a generic site, but they won't add the deep context stories. They won't write out the SARL for 5 projects.
So the differentiator becomes depth.
Depth wins, always. Flashy AI fails. Specific human context wins. The winner is the one who actually taught the AI the nuance of their experience.
So what distinguishes the winner isn't the technology, but the human story inside the technology.
Always. The tech is just the delivery mechanism. You're still the product.
Yeah. Okay, we're back. Let's bring this home. We've covered a lot. The broken system, the truth layer, the psychology of the fit assessment. If you had to summarize the big idea here, the core philosophy, what is it?
The big idea is that the old model optimizing for the filter is dead. You can't win a game where the opponent is an algorithm designed to reject you. The math is against you.
Right. You can't beat the house.
So the shift is from filtering to architecting discovery. You are building a world where a hiring manager can discover your value on their own terms.
And psychologically, you're moving them from no to maybe?
From filtering to investigating, that's the key. You're giving them a tool to make a decision, rather than asking them for a favor.
It's empowering. It takes the desperation out of the job hunt. It feels like taking the steering wheel back.
It does. It restores your agency. And honestly, in 2026, agency is the most valuable thing you can have.
So here's my challenge to the listener. What do you actually have to lose?
Nothing. You're currently competing with hundreds of people gaming filters. If you do nothing, you stay in that 0.4% bucket.
Exactly. Spend one weekend, 3 hours. Build something that speaks for you while you sleep.
And remember, if AI broke the hiring system, and it definitely did, then use AI to bypass it. Stop being a supplicant. Start being a partner.
Stop being a supplicant. Start being a partner. That's a great place to leave it. I want to leave you with one final thought. We often look at technology as something that distances us. But in this case, paradoxically, using a machine might be the best way to show your humanity.
Couldn't have said it better.
Thanks for listening.
Catch you in the next deep dive.